Hi, Lighthouse Church family. When we started Truth for Troubled Times, it was initially conceived to bring God's truth as an encouragement, as a comfort, as an anchor, as we were just thrown into the season of COVID, staying at home and just this new normal. Little did we know that this year would bring on so many other troubles: civil unrest, curfews, wildfires, and an upcoming, just emotionally charged election. One of the troubles I've seen from all this is that rather than bringing us together and unifying us as a society, there is this growing polarization, this lack of unity, and a dangerous us against them mindset. This is not just seen in political parties, but in people's view of race issues, strategies for COVID relief and reopening, and even overviews of what is going on in our climate that may be leading to these seemingly increase in wildfires. My fear is that this thinking may seep into the greater church and even into our church community and family. Now, there's no clear and simple lone cause for these schisms, but clearly there has been a move away from a middle ground where there is an acknowledgement that these are complex issues, often without clear biblical right and wrong, and without simple answers. Instead, there's a staking of one extreme over another, where one's position has become unassailable. Social feeds, after the last vice presidential debate, were filled with declarations like, quote, Pence in a knockout, fact, or, quote, Kamala Harris wiped the floor with Mike Pence, and there's really no question about that. Dialoguing has given way to the proclamation of what is considered fact for each side. And these so-called facts just rattle round and around in the echo chambers of our well-curated news feeds. Now, my hope and encouragement is that in these troubled times, each of you in your interactions will continue to be gracious, to be patient, to be kind and gentle. May your speech continue to be edifying, fitting for the occasion, giving grace to those who hear. May you always give others the benefit of the doubt. May you love well and seek to point others to Christ. May you speak truth in love. Now, one area that I want to spend some time looking at a little more closely is specifically how we are sharing our views on current events. When we share, we often don't realize this, but there's often a bias that favors our hope for result. We interpret an event or a statistic in such a way that it must mean that our view is right. You just look at any statistic on COVID. It's amazing how different sides who want different things will come to drastically different conclusions over the same data. And we paint the opponent as just clearly wrong, ignorant. There is no middle ground. And Scripture warns us of this. Proverbs 24:23-26 starts, partiality in judging is not good. Partiality is when we show bias, favor in how we judge an issue. Sometimes this is intentional, as we just want to win the debate. At other times, this may be our heart idols adversely affecting our judgment. The proverb continues, whoever says to the wicked, you are in the right, will be cursed by peoples, abhorred by nations. When we practice partiality, we at best are preaching half-truths, and worse, we're promoting falsehoods. Proverbs tells us we call what is wicked right. So you may win an argument, but you lose the war. A willingness to twist truths and claim possible worst outcomes as fact damages your integrity and your witness. I've seen folks on both sides of the spectrum declare that if a certain candidate wins, or if we allow COVID to continue down one path or another, that this near apocalyptic outcome will for sure happen. How do you know that for certain? Can you say that in all honesty? And in these worst case scenarios, then, where is your hope in the gospel? Scripture also tells us that outsiders will know that we are followers of Jesus by our love for one another. What then does our lack of love for one another tell them? Fortunately, the proverb points us to a better way. But those who rebuke the wicked will have delight, and a good blessing will come upon them. Whoever gives an honest answer kisses the lips. Yes, when there is a clear biblical right and wrong, when an issue is straightforward, then we need to call this out. Be gentle but clear in your rebuke. Otherwise, we need to give an honest answer. Let's present our case, but acknowledge the weaknesses on our side. Let's avoid absolutes and claiming our opinion as fact, but rather express our thoughts, our fears, concerns, admit that we could be wrong, that issues are complicated, that we're just trying to figure out the best way forward. Let's be humble enough to recognize our own biases and that the other side can also be well thought out, and we may have something to learn from them. Read and study those who you disagree with. Let's find ways to have constructive and instructive dialogue rather than debates where the loudest wins. Recognize that one-liners on social media lack context and body language and can easily be misconstrued. So be wise if you're going to post. These complex issues are not as black and white as we make them out to be. But let's lovingly then work through the gray together. Lighthouse family, these indeed are confusing, tricky, and troubled times. May our honest answers to some tough questions not be slaps in the face, but rather, as this proverb says, be like kisses on the lips. May we be a blessing to others. Love you all. Miss you. God bless.